Hi guys, this is Shiva Reddy. In this session, I am going to share my interview experience with you. I have around 6 years of experience in working with the Java technologies in development as well as the supporting projects. In this session, I am going to give you suggestions or whatever the experience I have gained from last 6 years so that it may help you people to prepare well for the interviews and to crack the interview. In this session, the primary focus is going to be on the development role. Either you may be a senior software engineer or the software engineer or member technical staff or the senior member technical staff position you are applied for. But the funda of this session is going to be it is going to explore a lot of real-time technologies in the Java world which are used by the software industry. So hope this is going to be really help to crack the interviews, and let us start. The first step of interview process is going to be resume screening process. So first of all, prepare your resume well with the technologies and identifying whatever the key areas you worked on, like what are the domains you worked on, and what are the technologies you are much aware of it, and if you have any achievements in this in your experience, so highlight those things while preparing your resume, because on studies showing that an average resume, the interviewer or the selection board is going to review your resume not more than 1 minute. So the first step of the success of the interview or the selection process is going to be our resume. So please concentrate on that resume and prepare well for that. Once you prepare the resume with your technologies and domain with your respective projects, at least go through 4 to 5 times and make sure that you understand and you know what are the things you put in the resume. And the primary objective of this session is going to be the developer role. So that is the reason I am explaining most related to the technical part of the discussions. So the thing for any Java interview candidate is the requirement is going to be the core Java. So you must know about the basics. That means you must have good understanding and command over the basics. And also nowadays software industry looking for the candidates who actually has the hands-on experience hands-on experience with these concepts. Whatever the topics or the whatever the concepts you know in the core Java, they expect you to have a real-time exposure of all those concepts, and they will expect the answers from you in the similar fashion. So prepare well and try to explain all the concept whatever you are explaining with your real-time projects or the real-time scenarios. So basics you should have sound knowledge, and then collections, then generics, and then multi-threading, concurrency, exception handling, serialization, IO streams. These are the core areas all the companies we are looking for you when you are saying you are working with the core Java developer. Okay, so that means you must need to take a few examples and make them to into a real-time scenarios and trying to practice few of them in the real-time scenarios, so that it is going to be helpful while explaining to the interviewer. And also you should know about the data structures. Now what is the need of data structures is, if you say collections are the generics inbuilt, these data structures they are already developed so that it is handy in the case of collections. But if 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 while interviewer asking the questions, he may ask you few questions like, if there is no array list, then how you are going to implement your own array list. For example, if there is no hash table, then how you are going to implement your own hash table. Like that, few may questions may comes up. So that is the reason, as the experienced people, we should know how internally works all these concepts, and then you should have a good understanding on how garbage collector works. And also on the another hand, it will be the reflection, because reflection will plays a very vital role while designing a new framework which uses the core Java like Spring, Struts, JSF. All these frameworks actually comes from the core Java by using the reflections. So good understanding of the reflection is really help in order to implement a new framework, or the new enhancing the functionality of the core Java. And then synchronization. Synchronization is most of the real-time applications are when you are working with the banking domains, or some wherever it has a multi-threaded environment there. So the synchronization comes into the picture, and we need to have a mechanism to restrict the multiple users uh, can restrict only one user at a time, or one thread at a time. It can access the shared resources. So try out few real-time examples, and trying to understand how internally works. This is really going to help to uh, present them in a better way, so that interviewer may get impressed with this explanation instead of giving a straightforward definition kind of thing. But remember one thing, like nowadays, the if you are really looking for a pure development project as a developer role, so the industry expect you have the hands-on experience, and you should able to code even if there is not exist like a array list, it is not there, but you are going to capable to do that array list, your own array list, custom array list, I mean to say. Okay, so make a note of this point, and not only for the core Java, whatever the technology you are going to work with, make sure that you know how to what it is, and how to use it, and also how to implement it. Make these 3 points clear, so that it is really help the to get impression from the interviewer. And then advanced Java. So once you know core Java, this is going to be our basement, or the pillars for the any building, I would say. So you must have a sound knowledge on the core Java. Then rest of whenever working with the advanced Java or the any framework, it is really going to be easy. So that is the reason, focus on the core Java first, and once you get a sound knowledge on the core Java, then remaining frameworks it is going to be very easy. Now coming to the advanced Java. Advanced Java, you should know about the JDBC, how Java application is going to connect it to the databases, either it is Oracle, DB2, or MySQL, or SQL Server, or even with the open sources also, open database like a MongoDB. So you should know how we are going to connect it to the database, and how to you need to interact with the databases by for the select queries, insert, update, how to work with the procedures and callable statements, how you are going to work with storing the files, and also images, and when you are working with cursors, how to return the multiple cursors using the Java program. So these are the things you, as for the experienced people, we should have a real-time experience or hands-on experience with these concepts. And servlet JSPs are going to be a basic concept of the web technologies, because core Java will come into only for the desktop or the standalone application. But servlets and JSP is going to be the web application. It is completely different concept. So in order to understand web technology, servlet and JSP are our core web technology components. So you should have a sound knowledge on these things before you go ahead and learn the any other frameworks like a struts or spring, because these frameworks actually built on top of the servlets and JSP. So understand the servlets and JSPs, and even if you have a if you can go with the EJBs also, it is going to be very helpful, because it is going to be a container based, and when you are working with the application servers and remote method invocations, so really EJBs is going to be helps. So I would like to say, like, if you have a knowledge on these component knowledge on these concepts of the technology, it is going to be very easy to understand or to learn latest Java frameworks. Okay, so understand or learn and also have a knowledge or the good knowledge over the advanced Java. And then nowadays, whenever you apply for any position, they may the company may expect at least one of the Java framework you should or you must aware of. Either it might be a Struts framework or the Spring or JSP. So these are the popular framework Java frameworks currently currently most of the companies are the clients are using. So you can learn any one of the framework with which you need to have a sound knowledge, and these are like a MVC framework or the MVC model. So you should know at least one of the MVC model. Either you can go with the Struts. It is Struts still we are using with the 2.0 version, but nowadays most of the companies using the Spring framework and also JSF. So try to learn any one of these MVC model or the frameworks. Really, it is going to be added advantage for your resume. And then for the experienced people, we should know at least few design patterns which are we are using in the current current industry for the clients. So design patterns are basically these are the solutions provided by the experienced people for to address the common problems. So there are around 26 design patterns we have, but you can try to learn few design patterns which needs to be hands-on experience, and a few design patterns you can have like a good knowledge, so that it is going to added advantage for yours. So here the point is like design patterns like a singleton, factory design pattern, abstract design pattern, and then you can have a command line design pattern, and like that we have a few design patterns we need to have a hands-on experience. And then if you can understand few design patterns when you are working with some concepts, like when you are working with the strings inbuilt, it has a flyweight design pattern. When you are working with the application context or the session factory or the bean factory of the Spring, it internally uses the factory design pattern. So that what I'm trying to say here is, whenever you are going through the frameworks or the few concept, let us you can try to focus on if there is any inbuilt design patterns already used by that framework or the concept, so that you can explain the interview by saying that these are the these are the design patterns. I already have the hands-on experience, but I know that few design patterns already inbuilt they are using to develop some frameworks. So try to understand the design patterns as much as you can, and it is really added advantage for your resume. And then we nowadays industry is looking for like a web services. So these are the services available over the internet. Anybody who want to access your applications, instead of sharing your source code with them, you can expose your functionality as a service. So there the web services comes into the picture. The basic basic reason behind web services coming into the picture is, it is going to provide the interportability of the different operating systems or the different applications. If you want to talk to one .NET application with the one Java application, so the common way how they can interact with each other through web services. The web services inbuilt, it is going to use the XML technologies. So you should have a good if you have a knowledge on or the hands-on experience with one of these one of these web service, either it is a SOAP or REST, then it is going to be added advantage for your resume. So SOAP basically it works only on based on the XML with the SOAP protocol, but REST is going to be work on based on the HTTP protocol. So whenever you have get a chance, you can go any one of the web services. But most of the time, you are nowadays industry is using the RESTful web services. So try to get some knowledge or the knowledge over these one of these web services. This is going to be added another advantage for your profile. And next, ORM framework. So these are the frameworks. It is nothing but the object relational mapping. Now, why this coming into the picture is when we are working with the Java, everything we call it as a object, and in the database we call as a data tables. So if we don't have any ORM tool, then what we need to do is we need to do a lot of code to get the connection, and then you need to prepare a statement, and then you need to save. At the same time, while retrieving the database also, you need to prepare a select statement, and then you need to create a array list or some to iterate over the result set, and then you need to prepare a list, and then you need to pass to the either business layer or the UI layer. So there is a lot of code we need to written, and it is going to be a tedious job for the developer. So ORM tool, what the concept of ORM tool is, it is going to be the independent of database. You can write a queries, and also whenever you want to switch from one database to another database, you just need to change the few configuration. Automatically your application is going to be compatible with the another database. So that is the high level concept of the ORM framework. So either you should have a knowledge on either Hibernate or the Hybatis. So these are the two ORM frameworks nowadays most of the companies are using. So you can have a good knowledge or the try to understand the few concept of the Hibernate ORM frameworks. It is going to be another advantage for your profile. And then unit test frameworks. So when you are working with the development project, once you prepare you written your own code, you need to make sure that whatever the code you written is correct. So in order to test that code, you need to write a few test cases. You need to have a test cases. So in order to write the test cases, you need to go any one of these. You should have a understanding on the unit testing frameworks like a JUnit. It is basically used for test-driven development, and once you done with your development work, you need to write a test case using the JUnit, and you need to make sure that the whatever code you are writing, that needs to be executed properly with that test case. Okay, and TestNC, it is a advanced version of the JUnit, where you can have instead of unit testing, you can have like a integration testing and end-to-end testing. So it is going to provide a suits to execute your test cases and also execute your integration test cases. And Mockito is a framework where it is going to provide a behavior development, design development. What I mean to say is, whenever you are working with the multiple modules, like you are working with the business layer and a database layer still not developed, but you have to test this functionality, then what you Mockito can going to do is, it is going to provide a dummy object so that the dummy object will itself, it is going to say that it is going to get a connection from the database and it will give to you, and you can use that connection, you can do your business logic testing. So Mockito basically provides a dummy object to provide behavior driven development. Okay, so these are the unit or the testing framework. You should have a understanding, or you should know about these framework. And then logging frameworks. So whenever you working with the real-time applications, most of the time we have to use at least one logging mechanism. Sorry. So logging mechanism, basically what it needs is, whenever you are developing your application, you need to put few informative information, so that if something goes wrong, these are the logs, it is going to be help to track or troubleshoot the issues. So in general, whenever you are working with the sample programs, you are going to write either system.out or system.error or system.out.println. So it is a bad practice that if you write any system.out.println in the real-time applications, it is going to degrade the performance of the application, because whenever you write a system.out, it is going to have a one network round trip to the server, and it needs to print the some data to the console. So one round trip of output or networking throughput is going to be wasted. Hence, it is always recommended that don't use any system.out or system errors in your real-time projects. Instead of that, you always use or you always integrate your application with at least one of the logging framework like log4j or slf4j, or even by default util package will have the log framework. So you can use any one of them, and you can leverage your log levels based on the your server mode, or based on your log mode, it is going to print the logs. So identify the correct log, like a info level or the error level or the fatal or warnings or errors. So take a decision wisely and maintain these levels correctly, so that you are going to capture the logs properly, and it is going to help the developers or the people to troubleshoot the issues. And then when you are working with the multiple people, the mechanism, there should be some mechanism to control our source code. So that is where the source code control management tools coming into the picture, where there will be some server repository will be there. From there, every developer is going to take the copy of the data and they will work. And once they done the development, they are again push this to the repository. So in order to control all this process, we are going to use the source control management tools. Either you can use like either you should have an understanding on either VSS, this is provided by the Microsoft, or Perforce, or the SVN and Git. So you should have at least one of these source control management tools, so that you should have knowledge on how to get the latest code from the server, and how to check out or the check-in, and then how to commit your code to the server. You should know about these fundamental things. Okay, and then build tools. Whenever you are working with the application where multiple tools or the multiple dependency files required to execute that project, then the build tools will help to simplify this process. Otherwise, what you need to do is you need to always make sure that you need to download the proper versions from the all these dependent applications, and you need to put in one build repository or build path. And when multiple people are working with this application, then you need to make sure that all these people are downloading the proper jar versions and everything. So in order to simplify all this process, these build tools are going to help you to simplify this process. What this build tool is going to do is, you are going to have one configuration file based on the build tool which you are going to use. Like either it is a ant, in the case of ant it is going to be build.xml. In the case of Maven it is going to be a pom.xml. In the case of Gradle it is going to be the Gradle dot build. So these are the configuration files where you are going to specify all the dependencies of your application, and uh, this Gradle or the Maven or the ant tools will take care of to downloading the correct version of the correct version from the Maven repositories, and make sure that it is going to compile and execute all this process. Like these are going to help to creating, it is going to help the compiling, executing the test cases, building the jar or var or ER files, and then deploying onto the server. So all these steps actually taken care by these build tools. So whenever you have a chance, go through any one of these build tools. It is going to be help to simplify your development effort, as well as it is going to add another advantage for your profile. And then application servers. So when you are working with the development project, you should know how exactly application server works and how to deploy the ER, the var file on the server. So you should know at least one of the servers, how it works internally, and how to build your how to deploy var file on the server, and also if something goes wrong, how you are going to debug the issue from the server logs. So that is where interviewers will expect that how servers are working whenever you deploy a var file or the ER file, and how you are going to make the transaction management, whether it is at the code level or whether it is at the server level. So when you are working with the application servers like a web server, there by default you have a flexibility to control the transactions, as well as getting the connections from the JNDI. So all these settings you can done at the server level instead of at the code level. So that is the reason you should understand these. You should understand this how our application is going to integrated or the deploying on the server with the properties, like how you are going to initialize our log4j with our application, and how we are getting the database connection from the servers. So and also how we are handling the transactions and connection pooling. So all these things actually we are maintained at the application level or at the application server level. So we should know all these settings how we are going to do. And then coming to the databases, even though we are working with the Java technology, it is always good to have at least one of the database to understand how we are going to work with the databases, like writing the queries, writing the procedures and functions, and creating a cursors. So it is going to be really added advantage. You should have a if you have a knowledge on writing the queries, writing the procedure and functions, and also advanced concept of the SQL also. And one more thing, recently industry is practicing to go with the open databases like a MongoDB. So MongoDB is one of the open source database recently coming into the picture, and where you don't have any user-friendly commands like create database automatically it will create, but those type of things actually it will not available in these open source databases. We need to have a few set of commands to do all these things. So it is always good to have like sorry, good to have like open source databases. It is really going to add another advantage. So next one is operating systems. So most of the time in real world applications, we are not going to use our Windows servers. We may use either Unix boxes to where our application server is running, where we are going to deploy our jar or AR WAR file, and otherwise it is going to be Linux. So these are the two most frequently used operating system when we are talking about the application server perspective. And also Windows servers coming into the picture, if we have any services like which are compatible with the Windows servers, then we may have a few more very rare scenarios we go with the Windows servers. But it is good to have a understanding on how it is a good to understanding how exactly Unix command works, or basic understanding of how we can navigate into the different folders, or the copying the file or deleting, and how to give the permissions. So at a basic level you should know how to work with these Unix and the Linux servers. And then coming to the IDE. So when we are working with the development project, ideally we are going to use at least one of the IDE, either it is a NetBeans or the Eclipse or the MyEclipse. You should know how to create a how to import the project, existing project, how to create a new new project, and then how to set up your jars to the build, and all these things you should know, so that it is easy to set up your own workspace on independently instead of depending upon the or other developers. So try to learn any one, try to understand any one of these IDEs to know how to implement or how to develop the code using this IDE. And then next one is validation of the UI frameworks. Whenever you are working with the web technology or the web application, so you should have at least one validation framework, like JavaScript. JavaScript is the old standard practice, like for the validation framework. But recently we are getting advanced JavaScript frameworks like Extension.js, Node.js, Angular.js, Backbone. So these are the few advanced versions of these UI or the validation frameworks. Also, one of the another important framework is going to be jQuery. So this is another framework or the UI framework recently most popular while working with the designing or the validation framework. Okay, and also when we are trying to create a new web application, so always the UI component, either it is going to be a HTML with the CSS combination and XHTML or the HTML5 when you are working with the mobile application. So it is better to, or it is good to have understanding. I am not say you should learn, but you should have like a high level understanding how these web design technologies or the HTML, CSS should work along with this validation framework. And XML technologies, so this is XML is going to be most popular nowadays, because this is the standard, universal standard format where different applications can talk to each other in the XML. That is the reason there is a huge usage of XML technologies in nowadays in the software industry. And also whenever you are working with the XML technology, you need to know how to create the structure of the XML, and also how to pass this XML using the Java code. So in order to pass this Java code, we are going to use the parsers like a DOM, SAX, and XPath. So these are the frequent parsers we are going to use to extract the nodes from the XML schema, the XML file. Okay, so and one more recently getting popular getting the popular technology is the JSON. JSON is going to be lightweight when compared to the XML. That is the reason most of the time the industry is trying to upgrading to the JSON. And also whenever you are working with the interactive application, Ajax is the framework which is going to help you to do communication with the server asynchronously. That means if you take a Google, whenever you type something, automatically it is giving the suggestion. So this is the concept inbuilt, the concept behind that population of the auto population, whenever you type something, it is a Ajax. So whenever you have a requirement with the interactive applications, then Ajax is going to help to uh, send the data, parts of the data to the server, instead of sending the whole data to the server and getting the response. So this is the high level overview of the currently industry is using Java technologies or the Java related technologies. If you are working, if you are trying for any position for the developer role, and you want to be like a from the product companies, or you 100% is pure development project wherever you are going. So these things will coming into the picture. And also you should know about one design or one SDLC process. I forgot to mention here, that is the SDLC process. We have different SDLC process, so either we are going with the RAD, or we are going with the RAD, Rapid Application Development, or whether we are going with the Agile, or we are standard SDLC process we are following. So these are the methodologies the industry or the company may follow while you are developing an application. So it is always better to have whatever, as much as you can learn or as much as you should know about all these things, then it will be more weightage to your resume. And it is really going to give you a confident enough to crack any type of interviews for your Java related interview or the any position. Hope this is going to really help you people. And please share your comment or your experiences, so that I can update or I can add few more points to this video, and I'm going to share with our people. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please comment on my YouTube video. Have a nice day. Hope all the best, and you should able to get into the whatever the position you apply once you have this much sound knowledge on it. Thank you.